work ID. It's me, my name, Christina. So, informative presentation. Hi everyone. I'm so happy to be talking with you today. I hope everyone's excited to listen. I'm a little cold, so I apologize. I'm here to share with you some information that I learned. So hopefully I can spread some wisdom about those cool donation bins that you see all over the place. Sometimes they're pink, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're white. I've seen them at grocery store parking lots or church parking lots. Sometimes I've literally seen them in the middle of nowhere. But I donate clothes in these bins on a frequent basis. I have 4 people in my house and 2 growing kids who go through a lot of clothes. So I donate my clothes, and I've been doing it for years. And, you know, just recently I kind of started wondering, like, okay, where do these clothes go, and what happens to these clothes? You know, do they are they given away for free, or are they sold to people maybe for a fraction of the price, kind of like donations at the Salvation Army are? So that's what I'm going to answer questions about today. I'm going to give you all this info, and then you know just as much as I do. Now, I'm sure you've seen these bins, but probably didn't notice like what logos or what companies were on the side. Some of them are Americans on the Salvation Army, and others are run by, Planet Aid. Planet Aid are the yellow ones. And, you know, sometimes we notice them because there's like a whole load of clothes and baby stuff, and it literally looks like someone just backed up a U-Haul and kicked all their stuff out and left it there, which is sad and angers me when I see it. But we're gonna stick to what happens with the clothes that are in those bins today. Just today, I actually dropped off clothes in a Planet Aid bin, 2 bags, from my daughter's clothes because she's growing like a weed. And I thought to myself, you know what, I want to go home and use that as my informative speech and find out where these clothes go. So I checked out Planet Aid's website. And their mission statement, well, they're all over the country for one. They're international, actually. But in the U.S., due to COVID, they've actually picked up a lot of their bins. However, the region that I'm in Connecticut, Massachusetts, is considered southern New England, and our region is still collecting, and so is northern New England. And our regional office, is in Milford, Massachusetts, which is kind of cool. Now, according to Planet Aid's website, which is a 501c3, their mission is to collect and recycle textiles to protect the environment and support sustainable development in impoverished communities around the world. And an interesting fact I learned, because I was so confused when they said protecting the environment. Like, what would clothes have to do with protecting the environment? Minus all the people dumping like piles of stuff that doesn't belong in the bins, which is obviously littering. So looking further into their website, I learned that disposing clothes in a landfill produces greenhouse gases, and that's part of Planet Aid's mission, is to stop this from happening. So what happens to the clothes that we put in the bin? So you bag them up and you put them in the bin so that they stay dry, and they take stained clothes or torn clothes, good clothes, blankets, things like that. So a truck comes around to pick them up on a regular schedule, and they're brought to a local warehouse like ours in Milford. And the local warehouse sometimes source the clothes, like if there's really good things in there, name brand stuff, and they go to a local thrift store and they get sold. And then the majority of the clothing actually gets packed. I don't know if you've ever seen a recycling facility, but the paper and stuff gets packed into this really big tight cube. It reminds me of Wall-E and like the little cubes that he was popping out all over the place. And so the clothes, they do the same thing. They pack them in real tight into these big cubes, and then they bind them with straps. And these cubes actually come out to be about 10,000 pounds, which is crazy. And now these big bales of clothes, they call them bales, are sold to buyers overseas. And then they're shipped in big shipping containers. And when they get to the buyers, they're sorted by grade and by type and quality. And then these clothes are often sold to local markets that sell them a lot of times just for pennies, where in places where the poverty is high. And one of the things that Planet AIDS website talked about was that it's important to know, a lot of people are like, well, why don't they just give them away? And part of the problem in these poverty-ridden societies is that they need a way to create jobs and generate income. And so by selling clothes to these local merchants, they in turn can sell those clothes and may bring in some income, which helps the economy and it helps create jobs. So Planet Aid is selling the donated clothes overseas or in their local thrift stores. And then the money that they get back from that is used to help fund any of their sustainable development projects that are geared to help the poorest of the poor. And sometimes they do a lot of local work. They do like winter clothes drives and things like that. I just thought it was very interesting to find out where these clothes go. Who are they given to? Most of them aren't even given to people in the U.S., which is interesting. So if you ever were interested, you can certainly go to Planet Aid's website or the Salvation Army's and check out more about what these awesome companies do to help people who are living in poverty, far worse than the poverty we see here in the U.S. Thanks for listening.